Good afternoon, Fabio Donetti with El Bulldog. The reflections of the Bulldog. We're going to cover the week of actually, which was holiday on Monday, so January 24th, 22nd to the 25th. And remember, for the subscribers, the Bulldog newsletter went out Saturday morning, so check your email inboxes is there, and hopefully you like it. A lot of technical analysis, some fundamental stories, some opinion, and some ideas to trade and some model portfolios as well. So hope you like it. So you're going to talk about a little bit of the markets. There was some news on the Fed. I want to talk about that. Brazil, we had Davos that happened a week, a little bit about Venezuela and the markets and what's coming this week. One of the things that we are starting to do is to add some more equity exposure. We like it here. The market is a little bit climbing a wall of worry. We added a little bit more at the beginning of the year. We probably would add another 5%. Again, the market is now stable, steady. Resistance is at the 2718 level for the S&P. That's the 50-day moving average. But again, we think that with the Fed staying and basically a lot of the reporting going, as expected. We're going to talk about more about that. I would not mind taking some risk. However, there were a couple of, one firm, Citibank, took off some risk because they were very early. They, recommended increasing equity exposure in the middle of the correction in December. So if you measure from that to now, the market is up 15%. So Citibank says take some chips off the table. We were not that lucky, but we still think the market is doing well. Also, remember, we like a lot emerging markets, particularly Brazil, EWZ, and to a degree the neighbors Argentina, Colombia. We like it. They are, in general emerging markets, but I think Latin America is better positioned. So let's talk about. There was a comment by the Fed that they might tweak their quantitative program. Remember the program that they were buying. They bought up to 4 trillion in bonds, and now we were in the program that basically they will not buy anything. They will let expire and not renew, expire and not renew. There was a comment on the journal that maybe they want to keep a larger portfolio at the end of the day. The original thought was they're going to keep zero, but now they might keep, who knows, maybe a trillion, something like that. So that, in a way, adds some liquidity to the system. We don't know. The market didn't react a lot. Only the Wall Street Journal carried the news, but usually they've proven to be the guys who have the ear in Washington. Remember, this administration does not get along with the Washington Post, nor the New York Times. So maybe they only whisper to the Wall Street Journal. So, but that's an interesting comment that came out there. Just we'll dig more into that. Davos happened this week. Honestly, we miss all the big ones. Putin didn't go. Xi Jinping didn't go. Trump didn't go. So we miss a lot of luminaries. The only one that was there was the president of Brazil, which did say little, and we'll tell you why in a second. And then some European president. But basically, the main thing in Davos was that the China slowdown is affecting principally Europe for now. A lot of the exports in Europe have gone down. Everything directed to China, came down. So people are thinking, well, what's going on there? That's number one. Number two, that there will be no recession, that the world will grow a little bit less than expected, but nothing else. And then the big absent, other than the big leaders, no one talk about technology. No one talk about censoring Google or Facebook or doing more of this and that. So in a way, they got so far free from that. So it was, I would say, probably it was not super relevant. Davos, a lot of the bank heads, Paul Gorman from Morgan Stanley, Salomon from Goldman, and the others, and basically they didn't say much that added a lot of value. Banks are not having a great time. They're making a good money on the net interest income, but trading and capital markets are very muted so far. M&A and investment banking is okay, but it's not wow. So that's kind of on the banks. Venezuela, quickly, the latest is that looks like Mr. Maduro blinked because he cut diplomatic ties with the United States and asked the diplomats to leave in 72 hours. Now he said that they have 30 days to leave, but they're going to keep an interest office there. In the meantime, the other president, Juan Guaido, is getting more and more recognition. The latest from the European Union is that if in 8 days there is not a call from elections, they will not recognize Mr. Maduro. So it looks like we might get to a tilting point here. I'm not saying what's going to happen, I'm not saying who's going to win, but Things are coming to a close. It also is reported that President Maduro tried to withdraw $1.2 billion in gold from the Bank of England, and he was told basically your password has expired. You're no longer the owner of this account. So that's there as well. Brazil, going back to that, Bolsonaro was very quiet, disappointed a lot of people, but there was a reason for that. The Congress takes office next week. Actually, this week, the head of the lower house and the higher house take overs, also the commissions. Remember, this is the Congress that won on the first round of elections back in October. Back in October. So Bolsonaro was very guarded to disclose too much of what he wants to do because still you don't have the House Ways and Means Committee, the Finance Committee, who's going to be the head of the Senate. Remember, very fraction parties in Brazil. He doesn't have the majorities. Most analysts think that he will get the coalition to support him because of the way he carried the vote, the way the system works, but he's still not done. So that's why he was very muted and very cautious. And that's why many people in Davos say, "Oh, he only spoke for 10 minutes." But again, we like it. We're going to be very attentive of who is who in the new Congress in Brazil because we're along Brazil. But and just will be reporting on that story. On the report for the last week, the semis did great, other than Intel had a good comment by Barron's to buy it. But great, and that carried the market because despite all the announcements from the likes of Apple and other companies that they were selling less products. People saw, well, they're selling less products, they're buying less chips. However, the chip makers mostly reported very good numbers and gave a decent guidance for the first part of the year, with the exception of Intel. So that was good. The airlines reported no surprises there. So the market took a breather, no much, but the semis did help. We have a big week this week. Apple, Microsoft. I couldn't find Amazon on the others, but I think we have everything starts on Tuesday, not tomorrow. Big reporting, and like always, we will reporting. That's all we have. Remember, you can always find us in our page, winston.capital, and for our subscribers, 9:45 every morning live, talking about the markets. Have a great week.